Hey there, welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. It is I, DJ Impact, and we have here Matt Michaels with us. Sin City Steve is here, and Rob Basilari is here. So, welcome everyone. This is our 3 count. We got 3 good topics for you, and we welcome you to join in. If you're watching this live, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, feel free to throw your comments in. We always love to see that when it happens. And we also, if you just mainly download the podcast, you rarely watch us. You can catch us every Sunday night. We do this around 8:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're just following us on one of our platforms, you should hopefully get the notification when we go live. We would love for you to participate on one of our live sessions as well. All right. So with that, let's jump right into our 3 count. It's time. Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting present 1, 2, 3. Count Talk.
Count Talk, baby.
Here's our first count. And this one is, there was criticism from some in AEW that Tony Khan didn't stop Kevin Sullivan from being let go. This is from WrestlingNews.co. All right, so this just reads like this. It says that the fallout continues with Kevin Sullivan, the vice president of post-production, being let go by AEW on Monday. It was a decision made by Mike Mansouri, the senior vice president and co-executive producer. As previously reported, many people in AEW thought highly of Sullivan, and a lot of people were upset about the departure. It was added that the feelings is, quote, that the original AEW has changed greatly, end quote. Now, he had joined AEW from Impact Wrestling years ago. He built AEW's post-production team in Nashville. The departure was a big move behind the scenes in the company. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported that the move blindsided many people in AEW, and Mansouri told Sullivan that morning that they were moving in another direction in 2024. Now, Meltzer wrote that Sullivan had no idea it was coming, and it was given no real explanation as to why, just that it was Mansouri's decision. And the report continued by noting people in the AEW division didn't even know Sullivan answered to Mansouri, and was said by those who worked in production that Mansouri, being Sullivan's boss, was never made clear. People in production believe no one else will be cut, although those on the team are of Sullivan's people. The report stated there was criticism from some that Tony Khan didn't stop this from happening, considering Sullivan's tenure. And another person said, quote, another day, one guy gone, sad, great guy, worked tirelessly since the beginning, really understood the original mission statement and feeling or image we were going for, end quote. And others noted they were in shock about it. All right, let's move over to you, Mr. Matt Michaels. This was your story. Tell us, man, what's your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting that this, got a lot of attention in the realms of kind of the wrestling. What the fuck is going on? Jesus, is it bowling? Who's bowling? Rob, you fucking got a bowling alley going in your place?
No, it's just someone's mic kind of goes in and out a little bit. It's okay though. We're good. Go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with a little in and out. So, I'm talking about the burgers, you perverts. Fuckers.
I would still say,
but it's interesting that the defense was we're going in a new direction for 2024, which really makes no sense, especially when the guy, like, no one had a clue that he was getting fired, not even him. So it's just a strange thing. What's even weirder is, I think, the fact that the idea that people would get mad at Tony Khan for not speaking up. Let's face it, the idea that Tony Khan actually knew this was happening, I don't know if that's a thing. And then what does Tony do? If he gets all this backlash, does he rehire the guy? I mean, it's such a fucking it's such a big when it comes to the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing. And we've seen this since day one. We've had our experiences with them. And we know that there's no cohesiveness to their operations. We're not talking even, the wrestling, right? We're talking about the way the business is run.
Right.
And unfortunately, this is a good example of people being blindsided, people still on edge because they don't know, because the whole crew was his team. So are they being retained? Are they being looked at as, guys who are dinosaurs to what they were doing? Now, are they able to do what the vision, and what the fuck is the vision for 2024?
Right.
It's production. It's post-production. It's not even like, it's unbelievable that something like this can be so, it's not a big significant part of the product, right?
Yeah.
But in the end, now it's a big thing because of the fact that, it just got this buzz because they just don't do things to the point where things make sense. And then it gets out and people go, what the fuck? So, and by the way, you just let the guy who was loved by people in Impact go right before they're starting their TNA relaunch. So guess who's probably going to have a job waiting for them in a couple weeks?
Right. Wow. Let me go over to you, Sin City. Kevin Sullivan, I mean, you've been watching this product for some time, so you know the importance of having what the job of Kevin Sullivan does. What is your thoughts on this, and why did Tony Khan not stop this from happening?
So I can't really give any sort of any kind of insight as to why Tony didn't stop this or whatever it is. But the fact is that this was a move that is major. This is, yes, he's not on screen, but to break it down, in case you aren't quite aware of everything that Kevin Sullivan did within AEW, he was the person, Kevin Sullivan was responsible for producing AEW's video packages, the countdown shows, all the hype shows released online, to build their TV shows, all of the road to whatever events. This was massive. And I think that Matt really connected the dots on something that was genius there. TNA is doing a brand relaunch in a month. And who else are they going to bring in but the guy who was responsible for a lot of the video packages and a lot of the stuff that TNA did, which received critical acclaim. People loved that shit all around the business. Even if you didn't watch, even if you didn't watch TNA or Impact, you got some sort of enjoyment at some point or another out of the vignettes that he created.
Right.
And it's a big blow to AEW. And I am curious as to where we're going to go from here. But it just seems like as if there are, AEW's taking shot after shot after shot after shot right now. And this is one of those times that, they're being put to the test for sure.
Well, at least, I mean, they fired the guy who killed Chris Benoit. So,
oh Jesus,
wrong, Kevin Sullivan. Huh?
Yeah,
wrong. Usually people tell me I'm going to hell, but
I respect you, Booker man.
Yeah,
Rob, what's your take, man? I mean, should Tony? I mean, listen, now that the
fact that he doesn't know. Once again, as part of long-term storytelling, shows me or indicates to me that, again, like Matt said, one hand doesn't know what the other's doing. So it makes him look like a weak leader. I've always felt as Tony Khan was a guy who had a lot of money and was given a company. He was like, Richie Rich, I want my own wrestling company, daddy. And he gets one and he doesn't know how to run it. What a shocker. And things like this happen.
Rob, would you say it's like Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Yeah. My thing is this. Anytime I've ever been in a company where there's a shakeup in that one administrative person that everyone respected and trusted, my first thought is, Christ, who is going to buy us? Who is going to sell off this company, and who's going to buy us? Who is really running the show? I mean, Tony Khan is there in face, but I don't know who behind the scenes owns the majority, shareholder, who's the majority shareholder, or who holds the most stake in the company.
There isn't. It's,
right.
It's him.
Yeah, it's privately owned.
Yeah. So this is why I don't understand how something like this can happen, and he does not get to the front of the line and go, whoa, what's going on? Because everything is about fit and finish. I'll give you a quick idea. When AEW first started, there would always be this 5-second little promo where somebody would be hovering and you hear a weird sound effect, and you see first it was Riho slow motion diving. And I went, that's just this cool little thing that would open up at the beginning of every AEW show. Then it was the Young Bucks doing a suplex off the top corner. And you're going, wow, all right, there's a weird and interesting feel with all of the production work that they do to just make the show a little bit more polished and give it a different look. And then little by little, they stopped doing it, and it looked like everything else. And
Absolutely.
all of those little effects that made AEW something different, you won't say it out loud. You know when something is not right. It's like asking someone to leave a review for a salesman, and they go, all right, yeah, he did a good job. Fuck it up. Fuck up the job, and how many people will complain? When you do something right, one person will applaud you. When you do something wrong, 11 people will chide you. So the fact that now you have a guy who is there trying to polish up the product, so when it hits your television set, something about it reaches to you, and it's a different feel than WWE, which is all you're targeting. You're not here to make a better looking show than Impact Wrestling. You're here to make a better looking show than what WWE provides, even if it was just countering NXT. And it doesn't look like that anymore, and it doesn't have the feel like that. And the promos are getting sloppier, and the reads and all of the things that they do are looking very mechanical. We even saw them say cut at one point. So if there's even 10-second delay and he's in any way responsible for that.
They got the cut thing from Moxley.
Right. I know, but yeah, right. But Impact Wrestling did that once on a Mr. Anderson thing where they had a fight and it was a pull apart, and then he said, "Was that good?" And then they went to commercial, and you're like, fuck. But it's Impact Wrestling. You get a pass. You're not supposed to be an indie production. So if you get rid of the guy who was making the program look different and make it not look like an indie production or not another run-of-the-mill WWE cookie-cutter layout and format, that's a big deal. So who is taking over the reins is my next question, because that's going to go a long way. That's going to go a long way.
Bryan Danielson.
Oh, God.
All right.
Well, and he has a hard time.
He's going to do everything.
He's got a very singular vision for the company.
Yeah. All right,
and
y'all.
That's my dad joke of the night.
We're going to move over into count two. And this one is TNA teams with Endeavor for a new streaming service, CagesideSeats.com. All right. So the way this reads, it goes that Impact Wrestling impending rebrand back to TNA has made quite an impression on wrestling fans. It's not the only big relaunch they have planned for the new year. TNA announced today, or actually this article was December 8th, that they're partnering with Endeavor Streaming to upgrade their subscription service. The streaming of Endeavor, the owner of WWE and UFC parent company TKO Group, will team with the Anthem-owned promotion on TNA Plus. It says there's not much information yet what this means for other existing means of getting Impact TNA products such as their Insider YouTube channel. Also, no word if it will limit other ways of buying pay-per-views, such as on Fight. But based on this, it sounds like TNA Plus replaces the builds on the Impact Plus app that was priced at $7.99 per month or $72 per year with no additional tier for the company's big four pay-per-views. And that's that. So there's also was a huge press release, which I won't read for you all, but if you got a chance to read it, yeah, you can go ahead and check that out. So this was your story, Sin City Steve. What is your take on TNA Endeavor streaming coming soon?
So I think that this is something that needed to happen. Quite honestly, this is a big move. As far as Impact Plus being what it was, it never really clicked with a ton of people. And now, quite honestly, being under an Endeavor distributorship, I think that they're going to be able to market this properly. And it is very, very telling just how in such a short amount of time, how we're starting to see things take shape and starting to see Endeavor getting its hands in everything in combat sports. And, you know, it realistically, with Vince largely out of the picture, this is something that so many people have begged for years. And now that it's finally starting to take shape, I think that there are those people that are loyal to non-WWE wrestling that are discounting this and are, you know, passing this off. I think that this is a very big move, and especially if there would ever be any sort of, like, I hate saying the phrase cross promotion, but if you would ever get any kind of an advertising Impact, TNA Plus, whatever, on WWE TV, or this could also, you know, have some sort of a working relationship between the two companies, which again is something that a lot of people have begged for and asked for years. This is massive, and I there's definitely more at play than just distribution, in my opinion.
Got you. Rob, how big is this, man? Adding this to Endeavor's platform.
Well, I originally thought that given the trajectory of Impact Wrestling, that they would find their content streaming on YouPorn, but this is a lot better. It's good. I'm mostly interested in the fact that you basically get to be the sloppy seconds for WWE, because you would imagine that they're going to lump this in as a wrestling category for streaming purposes. And now you get to have that ability to go, all right, by the way, there's also something called Impact Wrestling TNA. And now that's going to, via WWE, shine a light on our promotion. And you might actually see, hey, wait a minute, I see some crossovers between the wrestlers. Someone who was wrestling on the WWE is now on the Impact promotion. Maybe they have a different name, like Trinity, for example. Okay, well, now this is interesting to me. And I'm not paying anything more, in theory, to now see their content as well. So this is a good thing. I like the idea of maybe a forbidden door without Vince McMahon's ego in the way. That could open up a lot of doors.
I don't think it was his ego that was ever in the way, apparently, if you ask some of the ladies involved.
Okay.
Look, the genetic jackhammer doesn't want you going anywhere. No, but there's a lot of people, and again, this is something like even some of the lesser known wrestlers, lesser known talent like a Fandango. Well, maybe you could now pull him up every once in a while, and we don't have to do the whole gimmick of we don't know who you are anymore, or you have to do a silly name change. Maybe there'll be more crossover, and that would be good. But I know there's a lot of contractual stuff, and the fact that the guys are, you know, a contract for X amount of time and they're like this is owned by WWE. But now if it's owned by Endeavor and your likeness is spread up on an Endeavor platform on 2 different fronts, maybe we could start to see that crap loosen up. Instead of going, well, I don't know who Trinity is, but she's got all of this glowing persona stuff. We can drop that crap and just focus on the wrestling and focus on the cross promotion and getting people to stop saying you still got it to somebody who's just wrestled in a different promotion for 5 years, and then the WWE fans have to act like, well, who is this guy? Where has he been? So it could be good.
Yeah.
And no you porn.
No. Let me ask you, Matt Michaels. Part of the article read. This was from the press conference. I didn't read it, but just want to read it right quick. This one little paragraph. It says that subscribers will have a choice of a quote special attraction end quote membership tier that features access to full TNA Impact Wrestling library and all TNA Plus special pay-per-view programming other than the 410 Pole annual events offered at a price of $9.99 monthly or $95.99 per year, and a quote world championship end quote membership that includes all the perks of the special attraction tier plus the 410 Pole pay-per-view events offered at a price of $219, $220 per year.
Hold on, let me interrupt. That option will give you the ability to see old footage of Velvet Sky changing in her locker room.
Well, there you go.
It's worth it.
Let me ask you this though. So Matt, now granted, we know that under the current TNA Plus, for $72, for some people that's a really good value. They didn't necessarily have a whole lot of people subscribe, but for those that did, that looked great. Do you believe though, with the new tiers that they have, and definitely a big price hike between the two options, that it may cost, I mean, if it was hard to get people at 72, do you think it's going to be easier getting someone for $95 or $220 as a price per year if with this new change? Your thoughts?
Well, the first thing is that the just having Endeavor as the company behind the promoting of it makes a big difference. The second thing that was in the article in the press, I don't know if it was no, it wasn't the press release of the article, is the idea of will Fight TV still have the pay-per-views available? Like, how are those 10 pay-per-views and the other pay-per-views going to be affected by this? And quite frankly, the honest answer is, if you're looking at it from a fan's perspective, you're already a fan of TNA wrestling, you're probably better off putting out the $220, right? Because you get the 4 pay-per-views that you're going to have to pay for anyway, right?
Right.
On top of the if you wanted all the other pay-per-views, you'd have to pay for them either separately or buy the the $100 package or $95.
But it's cheaper to actually just go to the shows live. You'll probably spend less money going to Sam's Town to watch them.
Yeah, but they don't do every
and a beer.
show. But they don't do every show there. That's the thing. And also, Rob, you're
and the plane ticket to Nashville to see the other two.
Yeah. You're living in the past. It is the it's going to be at the Palms now. They've moved up in the world, obviously. Not
yeah,
only
but the Palms is a station casino now, so you're back at square one.
No, it's not.
I don't know.
San Manuel. It's the Indians from California who own it. And
I thought they sold it to Station Casinos.
No, Stations owned it until the pandemic, and then they sold it off. Yep. So,
and they still have a buffet.
They do, Rob. And you got one thing right this whole fucking time, and it's about a buffet. Someone loves sticky buns, apparently. Speaking of Velvet Sky changing in the dressing room. So
Hey,
yeah,
man,
I
it's
think
beautiful people.
I think that yeah, it's going to be something that with Endeavor behind it, and remember too, Anthem. I mean, Anthem owns Access, so they already have. The interesting thing is, will this affect the free TNA station that you can get on Pluto? So, at any point, I mean, you can't stream it, you can't select stuff, but you can go on Pluto and just turn on the TNA station and watch old TNA and fairly recent Impact events, for nothing. So,
Yeah,
we'll see
absolutely.
what happens.
All right. Let's go into our count three. And this one is backstage note on Charlotte Flair's condition after scary SmackDown moment. Reports from sportskeeda.com. So the way this reads is the most recent SmackDown episode visibly didn't end well for Charlotte Flair as WWE's medical team helped her. Dave Meltzer now reports that he heard Charlotte was legitimately hurting after SmackDown. The Queen took on Asuka on the Blue brand this week, and even though she lost, all the attention was on how she struggled during the match. Now, Charlotte seemed to have initially injured her knee, as multiple photos from after the match suggested she was in a spot of bother. Speculation also suggested Charlotte may have even hurt her neck during the match against Asuka, which ended up losing due to a roll-up. Now, Charlotte Flair's status was addressed on the latest Wrestling Observer episode, and while Dave Meltzer didn't know the exact nature of her injury, the veteran journalist confirmed she was hurting, quote, pretty bad after the show. Now, of course, considering their history, Charlotte Flair match with Asuka was always make for much TV. All eyes were on the former WrestleMania opponent as the bout had a chaotic beginning with both women brawling near ringside. Now, the spot that seemingly caused Charlotte's injury happened when she was perched up on the top turnbuckle. While we're not sure about the move Asuka and Flair were going for, it ended horribly as they both crashed onto the mat awkwardly. And Flair suffered the brunt of the impact as the referee quickly checked up on her. And for the remainder of the match, she looked to be in immense pain. Asuka rolled up Charlotte for the win, following which Flair was seen screaming, quote, my knee, end quote, while a concerned Charles Robinson helped her in the ring. All right, let me go over to you here. Rob, this was your story. What's your thoughts?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there was, a point where they do the commercial break. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a moonsault involved with Charlotte Flair? And she might have landed awkwardly trying to execute that move on Asuka. My big concern here is that she was going to be, the protagonist in this story against Damage Control. She was going to be a central figure. It was her often teaming up with Bianca Belair. That's going to be a really large vacuum. And any, speculations about Sasha, Banks returning or anybody else, even if I want Jade Cargill, which may not be feasible, that's all, again, speculative. So you've got this big vacuum for the women on there. And you're hoping that there will be somebody on the other end for Becky, for
Damage Control,
not Damage Control, but Bayley to team up with. Mm-hmm. You're going to need somebody on the other end for Bayley to team up with. She's not going to go in on her own. So it's just going to be Bayley and Bianca. I don't know if those two would have chemistry. Obviously the injury to, Charlotte is what's important to make sure that she's able to be healthy and recover, or if there's, not as bad as we think, that's what we would really like for it to not be all that bad. But it does leave a big hole in the lineup as far as the women's concerned. That's my ultimate takeaway from this, because you've got more, and also really right now, the odd thing about Damage Control is they're kind of like so-so heels. They're in this weird space where it's three Japanese girls and a translator, and they're not really doing anything. See, that's the thing. Both them and Judgment Day are really weak heels. They don't do anything all that evil. They just win matches and hold on to their belts. They don't spoil a lot of matches for other people. They don't do a lot of run-ins. They don't say, evil things. They don't break stuff. So right now it's just kind of a toss-up in the air as is, but it was at least an entertaining story, and it was the new bloodline. It was the carryover. It was the women's bloodline where there's something new each week, but they need somebody to fight with, and now there's one less person. So that's my takeaway.
I got you. Let me go over to you, Matt Michaels. I don't know if you watched the show or if you didn't, but reading what
he's got gifts made on SmackDown. He's already got tons of material.
But what was your take?
Sorry, I was distracted by the fact that Rob was talking about these women's holes needing to be filled.
Oh my God.
I did not say that. I not this time I did not.
Go back and listen to the tape.
Let me listen, Matt. What's your thoughts on Charlotte now? Possibly being injured and out for some time.
Can't wait to see when the baby comes.
I see.
Just saying. She's either pregnant or is about to get pregnant.
So what you're saying is Andrade filled the hole.
Right. It was either Andrade or she was one of the women that Rick was talking about between the ages of 18 and 28. Right?
Oh, Jesus.
Woo! Did they both say woo at the same time? Did you just have like a woo off there? Woo! 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 Woo!
Oh.
Did I hear some punk say something about Charlotte Flair? The best, come get you.
I mean, if we're talking daddy-daughter issues, I'm sure there's a former president who has something to say.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm going to sue Ric Flair for copyright infringement for stealing my idea of banging his daughter. By the way, she looks like a man. She does not look as pretty as my Ivanka. And they said that they were going to change her name to Ivanka Flair. We're going to sue him for everything he's got and sue Vince McMahon for taking me off of the Hall of Fame, people. I was the best champion that did the WWF FND. There were two.
FND, okay.
The best champion that Raw ever had. This is true.
You crazy, man. Let me go over to you, Sis City Steve. When you saw or read about this, man, what is your thoughts?
The thing is, WWE has such a deep roster that immediately when I saw what had happened, I, of course, hope that everything's okay with Charlotte.
Yeah.
But if for,
it's a deep hole to fill.
If the tests come back and, there is something that is deeply wrong and she needs to miss time, then it's not like as if WWE is strapped for, anybody to be able to replace her. They have, like I said, such a large roster and such a large bench that they'll be able to just fill that vacancy, put someone in that hole.
Well, according to Matt Michael, when the tests come back, the kid's going to have too many of the same chromosomes.
Why?
Oh God.
Not even going there.
Yeah.
You don't have to, Rick.
Woo!
I always wondered how a David Flair came into existence.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh man. I guess it's time for me to ring that bell, man.
Yeah.
Or wise when every kid looks the same.
Jesus.
Oh God, please. All right. Fellas, we did it. That's our 3 count. Thank everybody again for hanging out, watching us, or just listening to us on the podcast. Hopefully we keep you entertained with all of our craziness that we talk about on here. But we appreciate you, and hey, we'll keep doing it as you keep listening. So with that, we're gonna give our final thoughts for the week. I'm gonna start off with you, Sin City Steve. What would you like to tell all the good folks out there?
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all the stuff that you guys do. We appreciate each and every one of you. Also, very special shout out and thank you to all the brave men and women serving this country, whether you're doing it on lands foreign or domestic. Thank you for doing what you do so that we can do what we love to do. And last but not least, repsports.com, reppsports.com. Go there for all your pre-workout, weight loss, and general energy needs. Again, that's repsports.com. Use promo code Vegas at checkout and save yourself 15%.
All righty. Let me go with you, Rob.
Well, I'm going to be performing at Drunken Jokes. Doing my Donald Trump thing. Maybe I'll do Ric Flair banging his daughter instead. Woo! Ric Flair! Limousine riding! Jet stealing! Girl stealing! Banging my daughter!
Oh, God.
Up and down the coast! Nationwide! Woo!
And where is what is it? Drunken
Jokes is at 18 Bin in the Arts District off of Charleston.
Okay.
Take the 15 and go to Charleston if you're heading by the Outlet Mall. It's right after that.
Okay.
And I'll be performing as the opening act at Drunken Jokes. So about get there about 8:30, 8:45. Great food, great comedians. Hosted by A Miracle, and you can find us all on social media.
And what day is that?
Tuesday.
Ooh, perfect. Tuesday. Awesome. Thank you much there, Rob. Matt Michaels, your thoughts?
A very sad week here in Vegas for people who just, again, can't believe that we would have a mass shooting again here in town. Very unfortunate. Unfortunate that now I think that we can honestly say that mass shootings go along with going to school, higher education, go to college. Probably going to have a mass shooting on the campus once in the university's history.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, we need to do something about mental health in this country. It should be available to everyone, period.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's one thing. Yes. Sure. High powered magazines do kill people. And it's, those are kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, a single bullet kills people too. So it's the intent, not the weapon necessarily. So, we got to solve that. And to think that in this town, it turns out that it seems to be that the two mass shootings were done by white males over the age of 50. So you want to talk about something that isn't very, commonplace in mass shootings in this country. It's that higher age range. Apparently someone who lost his ass gambling did the October 1st, and this guy apparently didn't get a job as a professor at UNLV.
He was about to be evicted, so they wouldn't hire him. He snapped. I'd also like to give a sign of respect to the two state troopers who died in the line of duty, who got hit by a drunk driver. They had their funeral procession a couple of days ago and shut down a lot of the roads so they can have that funeral procession.
Well, that was
church.
That was the first one, and tomorrow, which is Monday, is the second procession. So you'll see that tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on, man, and all we can ask is, they just try to be safe out there, and more importantly, try to if if sometimes we may be around people who look like they might need some help. Try to help them in the best way you can. Give them some sort of advice, suggestions, maybe help take them to this location that can help them. Sometimes if we might have that insight because we're close to that one, but don't ignore it and don't think that that person is not capable of not doing any of these acts, because we never know what anybody's going through, right? So the best thing to do is just hey, hey man, you're good. You need some help. Let me help you. Let me get you somewhere. Let me get you to a better place, and I guarantee you'll be okay. So, folks, that's all we can do, And if we do our part, then I think everything will work itself out. So, excellent. Thank you for that as well, Matt Michael. Guys, we hope to see you guys next week. We do it all over again. I know we're getting close to Christmas, and as that come about, we'll have some programming and things for you there. But until then, you guys take care, and we'll see you then.
Woo!